Hello, everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randie Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Welcome everybody to chapter 2. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Chapter 2 was a big bad boy, and it's Profitable Wonders. Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm here in Brooklyn, and this is some book, so I'm looking forward to it. I have to kind of woman up to this particular book. But it's good. So that's my introduction. Who would like to go next?
Good evening. My name is Venita Walker, and I'm joining you from Connecticut. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Gorgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm ready or not for this dissection of Chapter 2. Woo! Serious stuff here.
I'm Joel or JJ from Charleston, South Carolina. It seemed like a pretty good book. A lot of the stuff that kind of mirrors the Nazis in Germany, but we'll go ahead with it.
Yes, I miss y'all. I need this. This is nourishment.
Hi, my name is Randie. I'm watching from Georgia, and this chapter was something.
And welcome everyone. My name is Michelle Odom. I am tonight in Brooklyn, New York. And along with Randie Danielle Henderson, I'm one of the co-hosts of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. This particular session is going to run until June 9th, and our reading is Harriet A. Washington's Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. This is our third week of session 3, where we are focused on chapter 2. In chapter 2, Profitable Wonders, Antebellum Medical Experimentation with Slaves and Freedmen, author Harriet A. Washington offers a detailed overview on the ever-widening, uncontrolled, and inhumane experimentation on African Americans from unlicensed practitioners in early American medicine. Ms. Washington briefs readers on the beliefs, practices, and falsehoods that were spread to support the horrors they inflicted on African American bodies and spirits. She talks about the great wealth accumulated and unethical practices practitioners employed to mask findings that did not benefit their cause or their purse. She exposes the bestiality of novice practitioners hoping to gain fame and fortune by discovering a scientific advancement without regard to African American lives. At the same time, the level of dignity and modesty afforded white patients was never even thought of for African Americans, especially women. Quote, when Sims undertook his fistula experiments, even the term gynecology was a few years in the future. Instead, women's doctors averted their eyes in a chivalrous fashion as they knelt to tend to the modestly clothed ladies of their class, relying upon their sense of touch beneath voluminous Victorian skirts. However, Sims, working with enslaved blacks, was constrained by no such delicacy. He made the women undress completely, then kneel on hands and knees, while he and several physicians took turns inserting a special speculum he had devised to open the women's vaginas fully to view. I saw everything as no man had seen before, marveled Sims. Montgomery physicians flocked to Sims's shack to see what no man had seen before. So did prominent citizens and local apprentices, end quote. Ms. Washington identifies physicians like Sims who inadvertently killed patients, only to acquire more and more enslaved subjects. At the same time, this writing attributed any loss of life to the patient's lack of basic self-care, if these mishaps were documented at all. Researchers who exploited enslaved blacks were guilty of more than ethical blindness. These early medical investigators also practiced bad science on a very basic level. They were simply illogical. For example, many researchers argued that blacks were so different from whites, less intelligent, much less sensitive to pain, possessing numerous physical anomalies as well as markedly different patterns of disease immunity, as to constitute a separate species. Given this supposedly vast biological chasm between blacks and whites, how could scientists logically infer results of medical experiments from blacks to whites? This particular logical flaw recurred regularly in early research with African Americans. How could scientists logically infer results of medical experiments from blacks to whites?
Well, I mean, it's easy. Most Americans are stupid, so they'll believe anything that they want to believe. I mean, you know, I mean, that's just the truth. They want to say, well, you know, they're not really human, so if they're not really human, we can just go ahead and do it. And they say, okay, go ahead. That's basically it, you know. And then logically they can do it. They say, well, we take the anatomy of the ape and we take the anatomy of the pig and we can get some value out of it somewhere. I mean, when you got twisted logic, you can do what you want to do. I mean, it was just a way to be cruel. They didn't care. You can do anything you want to do if you don't value something. They never valued African Americans as you know, as anyway, just a commodity, and so they can do anything.
I also think reading for comprehension is a problem because Harriet brought up how now, you know, there's supposed to be things in place to keep us from being abused or taken advantage of with experiments. But you know that now people have to have you have to have written their consent, and they have to read the document, and they have to be constantly aware of what's going on within the research. But a lot of people do not read for comprehension. And I'm noticing that a lot now in the job I'm at now in the financial aid office. Like, people don't read. People do not read, and it doesn't help that then we weren't allowed to read. And so I think that this, in terms of what you said too, Michelle, in terms of like reading up on the history, people will read it but not comprehend it, and that's so crazy to me. Like, people will literally read something and not comprehend it at all and just not understand. And I think that perpetuates a lot of the history that that we've already experienced. We keep getting the same things, just different decade because of that. So crazy.
And it's not just blacks either.
It's
Right.
everybody.
It's everybody.
It's everybody. It's so crazy.
I guess to your point, Randy, I recently went and had a minor procedure and my godmother came with me, and there was a box to check that if you wanted the doctor to get the information back to your primary doctor. And so I thought this was a good idea. When I was about to check the box, my godmother said, they're not asking you what it says there. They're saying that once you check that box, anybody in any hospital or any system has your whole medical profile. They know everything about you because you just gave up all of your privacy. So I was just so amazed at the way the receptionist said what was going on, and what I read just felt like it was this one-time thing. And so when I sat down and I reread this paragraph, it was just like, oh my God, I think what they're really doing is just stripping my right to have any privacy on any medical level at all. So
And then it
really
goes to insurance companies and everything else.
Definitely. Anything to find ways to get more money out of the margins. You know, so it's the same story.
Yeah, you know, the expression ignorance is bliss. Well, it's really bliss for the oppressor, the abuser, the one who is trying to take advantage of someone they deem vulnerable. And so that's why enslaved people were not allowed to read, because, you know, reading changes who you are. It changes how you see the world. It changes how you see your place and your role in the world. It changes what you believe. And so that's actually a very dangerous position for oppressive people to allow others to have. You know, I posted something the other day. It was about the Koch brothers and, you know, how they've bought up the country and have essentially installed fascist rule in this country. And someone that was commenting on it was saying, yeah, but, you know, nobody reads anymore. And so it works to the oppressor's advantage to keep us focused on who's got the biggest booty and you know, what Jay-Z is doing and
Yes.
what Madonna said last night and what happened at the Grammys. And,
Yes.
you know, all of this entertainment that is foisted on us with great intentionality to keep us in our place. And that's black people and white people and red people and yellow people. Yay, now we see you.
Okay.
Now I feel like I'm in.
and you know, but we have to remember that it's done intentionally, and there may not be anything we can do about it, because at this point, Randie, you know, this is not going to sound very optimistic, even though I consider myself an optimistic person, but we're in bad shape. You know, people have been dumbed down and drugged down, and even this chapter, when you think of how the doctors addicted the women to morphine, and I put in a couple of other photos in the highlights video of the morphine and cocaine that were part of the cough medicines and stuff that everybody was taking. And if you just think of all of those people of that era being doped out.
But can I say,
Yeah.
okay, so whiteness wasn't created until like 1790 something or not. European Americans don't call themselves white people in their countries. Whiteness is a paradigm that was created. To me, which strata of society have not been used? Medical, religious, educational. Every strata has been used to constantly validate this made-up whiteness, okay, and sense of whiteness, and everything that we do, at least in America, I can say, well, maybe in some Western cultures, it's a response to that development of whiteness. You understand what I'm saying? So then, of course, you would use
well, whiteness is a method of divide and conquer, and there are multiple methods of divide and conquer in play, because it all works to the advantage of powerful people to keep the rest of us in line, in place. I mean, if we look at the income disparities that are going on these days, people ought to be up in arms.
Yes.
You ought not to be able to sleep because of the...
I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
Yes.
Me and my husband, we filed for our taxes. They said because we are working and we're in a different tax bracket, and we're about to get back $25 on that federal. I was like, what? Yeah. While people at the 1%, they're not paying anything.
Right.
So we're working, we're struggling, and I'm about to get, I swear to God, we can't claim earned income credit no more for our kids because we make more than $58,000 a year, and we don't have 4 kids.
Yeah.
What the hell? I can barely make it. And I'm not gonna say, but I'm a professional, and I can barely make it on 58,000 with 4 people.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I know.
But you said something a little earlier. I think back in history, especially the turn of the 20th century, when the Industrial Revolution, you say that you think that people, I think what is really happening now is that we're sitting here right now and we're able to share what's happening in up north and what's happening down south. So communication makes it very hard for us to have optimism when we are hit with so much bad information all the time, and then the cycle is built upon bad things happening all the time, and we never hear about good things happening all the time because that's not news. We don't hear about everything, that all the successes that human beings are having all the time. So I look at from the perspective that things been bad ever since men have. I tell people, they always look at money. Capitalism in its purest form is simply evil. If you go back to the turn of the century, if you go back when the Hudson River and everything else was, things were being dumped in it, when nobody paid attention to the Dust Bowl.
What is the foundation? It's funny you say that. What is the very foundation of capitalism in this country? Was it not the sale of human beings?
Oh yeah, I mean I disagree with that. Yeah, but my point is the optimism is that things have always been bad, and the will of people. When you're talking about even you're talking about the income disparities, what's different now is that we know about everything instantaneously. So it looks like, and trust me, when people get tired everywhere, I tell people this all the time, and it's true. When young people hit a certain level of unemployment and despair, when they think that older people have done just enough, they revolt, and there's a change.
Yeah. We know about a lot of things.
Yeah, we know about things that are bad.
Right.
We don't hear about the successes.
We don't know about things at the level, at the depth that you get from reading.
Yeah.
We don't know about things at the level that causes you to commit to a lifetime of struggle. We don't know about things at the level that promotes sustained change. And that's where we have to get.